O God, who by the glorification of your Christ and the light of the Holy Spirit have unlocked for us the gates of eternity, grant, we pray, that partaking of so great a gift, our devotion may grow deeper and our faith be strengthened. Through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Please be seated for scripture readings.
A reading from the Acts of the Apostles. King Agrippa and Bernice arrived in Caesarea on a visit to Festus. Since they spent several days there, Festus referred Paul's case to the king, saying, "There is a man here left in custody by Felix. When I was in Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews brought charges against him and demanded his condemnation. I answered them that it was not Roman practice to hand over an accused person before he has faced his accusers and had the opportunity to defend himself against their charge. So when they came together here, I made no delay. The next day I took my seat on the tribunal and ordered the man to be brought in. His accusers stood around him, but did not charge him with any of the crimes I suspected. Instead, they had some issues with him about their own religion and about a certain Jesus who had died, but who Paul claimed was alive. Since I was at a loss how to investigate this controversy, I asked if he were willing to go to Jerusalem and there stand trial on these charges. And when Paul appealed that he be held in custody for the emperor's decision, I ordered him held until I could send him to Caesar. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. As Jesus had revealed himself to his disciples and eaten breakfast with them, he said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" Simon Peter answered him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my lambs." He then said to Simon Peter a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Simon Peter answered him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to them, "Tend my sheep." He said to them a third time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was distressed that he had said to him a third time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Feed my sheep. Amen, amen, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to dress yourself and go where you wanted. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hands, and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go." He said this, signifying by what kind of death he would glorify God. And when he had said this, he said to him, "Follow me." The Gospel of the Lord. Please be seated. Graduates, I remember when I was your age, or teenager anyway, I pretty much stopped talking to my parents. I guess it's a teenage thing. Parents, maybe you've experienced that with your children, I don't know. Anyway, the way my mother tried to get me to talk was to ask me questions, which would sometimes irritate me. This is what I think of when we read this gospel today from St. John. Jesus asked Peter 3 times if he loves him. This occurs after the resurrection. Remember, after Jesus was arrested, Peter denied Jesus 3 times. So this was Jesus' way of forgiving Peter, because Peter was to be entrusted with being the leader of the Catholic Church, started by Jesus on Pentecost, what we now call the Pope. He needed to be sure of his love for him. It was his test of faith. And then he says, "Follow me." My dear graduates, this evening we celebrate your graduation from elementary school as you move on to attend high school. But this doesn't mean that you graduate from being followers of Christ. Part of your education at St. Patrick included, beginning all the way in preschool, if any of you were here then, has been how to be disciples of Christ. From this point on, it's going to be even harder. Those of you who will be attending Catholic high schools will still be given the tools to help you, the same ones that we gave you: religious instruction, prayer, Mass, confessions, adoration, opportunities to serve. Those who are not attending Catholic schools will get none of this. Indeed, you may even meet children in your public high schools who have never even heard the good news of Jesus Christ. In high school, you're going to face many temptations: drugs, smoking, immoral sexual activity, amongst the many. Stand strong. Remember your faith. Don't give in. Use the power of prayer that we help nurture here at St. Patrick's to help you. And be careful, be very careful of who you make friends with. You're going to face many, many trials in the next 4 years, but remember, you are children of God. You have high moral standards. Keep all that alive. Let people look at you in your high schools and know that you're a Christian by the way that you speak and by the way you act. And most of all, as you set your goals for the future, which many of you will be doing, remember the most important goal in life that we have taught you: eternal life with God in heaven. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Please stand to lead the prayer. With confidence in our God, we hear our sons bring our needs before Him. For the Church, as the body of Christ here on earth, may the Lord grant us patience for one Hear our prayers and answer them according to your holy will. We ask you especially to look upon our graduates with love, keep them close to your sacred heart, and remind them of our prayer. We ask this all through Christ our Lord. Amen. The Lord be with you. May Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good evening. Everyone may be seated. We thank everyone for joining us this evening. We have a great program for you, and we remember that we are here because of your children. This is a special day for them, and this evening you have your prayer service, followed by the awards ceremony portion, which we're about to commence. And then we end with the commencement ceremony itself. And the most exciting part for your children, the presentation of diplomas. The decisions that we make as faculty and staff are always made with the best interests of our students in mind. They are incredible. Their promise and potential is certainly without limits. Our faculty and I would like to recognize the growth of our class of 2020. And we're going to start with any students who joined the St. Patrick family in early childhood, pre-K 3 or VPK. If you may please stand and turn and face your families. As you can see, we started with just two, Jill Bowen and Bella Garcia Williams. If you joined the St. Patrick family in kindergarten, please stand. And then we grew by two. We're joined by Asia Albright and Zoe White. First grade, Martre Jones joined our class of 2020. Second grade, Josiah Williams joined his fellow classmates. Third grade, Michio Morris and Evan Gardner joined the class of 2020. Fourth grade, Charles Kahn joined the class of 2020. Fifth grade. Sixth grade. Logan Elsie, Catherine Sanderson, and Tyler Johnson. They all started the same year that I started at St. Patrick's. Seventh grade. We grew quite substantially. We grew with Brandon Moore, with Richard Alvarado Patel, with Mason Baptist, with German Shannon, and I got everyone, Dawson Beesbore. And then in 8th grade, didn't have any new students join this year. So ladies and gentlemen, before me this evening, faculty, staff, immediate family members of our soon-to-be graduates, I present to you our class of 2020, and you can see how they've grown from preschool to now. Students, you may now have a seat. There is a quote by St. Francis of Assisi that reads, "Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible. And suddenly, guess what? You're doing the impossible." There is nothing that our students cannot do when they hold true to their faith and they commit their hearts and minds to what they've set out to do. I can confidently state that if our students have any say or any impact on what our future holds, our future is bright, and these students give us such tremendous beacon of hope. Thank you, students. Thank you so much. Tonight is for you. And parents and caretakers, the students at our graduation practice wrote cards for each of you. And when you leave this evening, as a part of the graduation gift for your students, the cards that they wrote for you will be in those baskets. So you can look forward to reading those at a time that's convenient for you. Tonight, we have 3 special students of the 17 in the class of 2020 who will be giving dedications to certain groups of people. We're going to begin by calling up Jocelyn Beesbore. Jocelyn, please come to the ambo to give a tribute to the faculty.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jocelyn Beesbore, and I have the pleasure of speaking to you tonight about our beloved teachers. Many of us have had favorite teachers, whether it was our kindergarten teacher or our 6th grade teacher. We all have one teacher that has positively impacted our lives. For me, every teacher here at St. Patrick's has had a very positive impact on my life. First, I will begin with Mrs. McDaniel. She teaches my accelerated literature class. Before coming to St. Patrick's, I never knew I could speak in front of an audience. I was a lector at Mass, and Miss McDaniel always complimented me on my reading, but this year she pushed me to do well in the speech contest. When I was picked to participate in the speech contest, I was absolutely exhilarated. She opened doors for me I never would have had access to anywhere else. On behalf of all the 8th graders, thank you, Miss McDaniel, for pushing us beyond what we thought we could ever achieve and teaching us the power of writing and speaking. I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for you. Next, Miss Parker. Miss Parker teaches U.S. history and English grammar. Our experiences in her class are phenomenal. From the stories she told so vividly to all the jokes she told us, she was the best teacher I ever had. Thank you for all the tutoring sessions and all the personal stories you told us that taught us valuable life lessons. I hope in high school we have a history teacher like you. My homeroom teacher and math teacher is Mrs. Lauderdale. I have never liked math because I've always had problems understanding it. This year, Miss Lauderdale took extra time to go over various simple math terms and even played fun games with us. She not only helped me with math, but she helped me with personal problems. It gave me great advice. Miss Lauderdale spent countless hours helping our class, not just by making lessons plans and tutoring, but by planning fundraisers. She has even had her own family come to the school on numerous occasions to help us. Miss Lauderdale and her family are an example of God's love, and their dedication to the Catholic education is shown daily. I remember one time she stayed after school while I was rambling on for at least 2 hours. It started as tutoring, but ending as a caring heart. On behalf of the class of 2020, thank you, Miss Lauderdale, for being the best math teacher and showing us what family truly is. Miss Jensen. Miss Jensen is our science teacher. She always has the best cahoots. She has given me note-taking skills that I will most definitely need for high school. One thing about Miss Jensen I would love to have is her kind heart and her ability to put up with us. Every time I didn't understand something, she would take the time to find videos and other ways to explain it, just so I would be able to understand. She would go the extra mile. Thank you, Miss Jensen, for all those creative science projects and the patience that you have reflected. Mr. Goodson. Mr. Goodson is our religion teacher. Before I was even enrolled at St. Patrick's, I came to Bible study here every evening, and I met Mr. Goodson. I was ecstatic whenever I enrolled in St. Patrick's School, and I found out he became my religion teacher. I was able to learn about God every day. He taught me about the Bible and the sacraments. At first, I didn't know I wanted to be Catholic, but after coming here and attending Mr. Goodson's religion class, I knew I wanted to be a Catholic. Thank you, Mr. Goodson, for teaching us how to be disciples of Christ. Now for the special area teachers. Let's start with our music teacher, Miss Giffen. Miss Giffen has taught us many different music eras, genres, and artists. She finds ways to incorporate music into our everyday lives. She has taught us that music is supposed to be an outlet for people to express their feelings. Thank you, Miss Giffen, for showing us new ways to express ourselves without being judged. Miss AJ. Miss AJ is our art teacher. In the past, I have been expected to be an amazing artist just to make a good grade. Miss AJ's class, however, was different. She told me that being myself is always enough and always try your best. She consistently said I did not have to be Pablo Picasso or Leonardo da Vinci. She did not care what my art piece looked like, as long as she knew I tried my best. Thank you, Miss AJ, for giving us more confidence even when we weren't the best at something. Coach T was our gym teacher this year. She, like many other teachers, only got us for a short period of time, except her class was different. She used up every single minute each time we had PE class. She devoted her class not just to giving instructions, but to make sure we had as much physical activity as possible. She wanted us to move for every last second of her class. Thank you for caring about our health and fitness, even if we did feel like we were going to pass out. Miss Whalen was our technology teacher. She taught us not just how to work Google Docs or slides or even how to code. She taught us about internet safety and about copyright rights. Thank you, Miss Whalen, for trying to protect us and make sure we are always safe. I know you must have your hands full trying to make sure students, teachers, and parents understand Google Classroom, especially during distance learning. You always keep your cool. Thank you for being so patient with us. I would now like to acknowledge one teacher specifically, Mrs. Alvarado. She became a teacher here at St. Patrick's last year. The first time I ever talked to her, she was a substitute for science class, and I was asking her for help on bookwork. Then she became our gym teacher when we did not have one. This year, she became our loving Spanish teacher. Whenever I was going through rough patches, she was there for me. Whenever I needed help or advice, she was there. She was like our guidance counselor, Miss Brown, our own personal therapist. Anytime anyone ever needed anything, she would stop what she was doing right then and there and listen to us and guide us. She was not just a Spanish teacher. She was like a mother to me and every other student here at St. Patrick's. On behalf of all the students here at St. Patrick's, thank you, Miss Alvarado, and every single teacher here at St. Patrick's for being here for all of us, teaching us new concepts, but most importantly, just being family. This will always be our home.
Excellent job, Jocelyn. Very well done. I would next like to call Michio Morris to the ambo to give a dedication to Father Ligori and Mr. Kent. No pressure.
Good evening. My name is Michio Morris, and I have the pleasure to speak about our amazing administration, Father Ligori and Mr. Kent. These two faithfully chosen men will continue to impact many lives as they continue their vocation to make disciples of the students here at St. Patrick's Catholic School. My first recognition of Father Ligori was in elementary school. Before I even knew his name, I thought he was a greeter that worked the morning car line. I later realized that he was the priest and everyone here loved him. He was the overseer of the construction of the school and the church. I am sure he and God had quite a few conversations during that time. The best part of school was the days we attended Mass. Father made his homilies relatable to the issues middle school children faced. He ensured the students attended adoration, made confessions, participated in Stations of the Cross, adored the Blessed Mother, with the goal of building a strong relationship with the Lord. However, his responsibilities do not end here. He must administrate the church and school too. Father may seem very quiet, but that is just his humility. He has a spirit of love, kindness, and compassion, and I guess God put him here for a reason too, to care for our school and all of God's children. Father, on behalf of the 8th grade class, thank you for being an example of Christ and making my friends and I disciples of the Lord, especially as we move on to the next stage of our lives. Not only do we have one spiritual leader, but we have two. Mr. Kent, not to be confused with Clark Kent, is our principal and Superman. Not only is he an exceptional example of faith, but he is truly Superman. According to Webster's dictionary, a principal is defined by the most consequential, influential person of an entity or an organization. That being said, I can assure you that Mr. Kent is our Superman. He inherited a position that came with many challenges. Who was this new guy? After 6 months or so, he stopped being the new guy and somehow became family. I'm not sure how that happened or why, but it did. Must have been those superpowers. Here at St. Patrick's, that's what we are, one big family. Mr. Kent is a caring and hardworking man who is always here for his students, parents, and the administration. He is very concerned about his students' education. He took the time to get to know us all. He's always encouraging us to follow our dreams and passions, no matter what life throws at us. He will also teach you about discipline by his fierce but fair punishments. He will go above and beyond what is expected. He will listen, relate, get slimed, and even kiss a pig to get our attention. I cannot count how many nights he has been here at 10:30, or how many times we get emails, or even how often we get those reminder text messages at all times of the day and night. Does he ever sleep? This shows the dedication that goes way beyond the job description of principal. With all the extra events like the tree lighting, Christmas play, our sports events, spring festival, middle school dances, class parties, color run fundraisers, plus all the other academic events. Somehow, he is always there with a camera in hand. One of our virtues, humility, is demonstrated daily by him by caring for the students and administration's needs before his own. He is always so positive and constantly encourages students and the teachers to strive to be the best versions of themselves. I like the way he is interested in feedback from the students and parents so that he can continue to make changes to consistently make our school better. He seems to be fair when making decisions surrounding the well-being of the school. For the past 3 years, I've gotten to know and connect with Mr. Kent. The class of 2020, our class, is his first middle school class to start and finish with him. Even though this year has brought many challenges at school, at home, and with the world, Mr. Kent has pushed through to keep stability and communication throughout this trying time. Again, how does he do it all? I am certain that anyone who gets a chance to have Mr. Kent and Father Liguori as their leaders are lucky and blessed. I am positive that Mr. Kent is exactly what St. Patrick's Catholic School needed. He is what the class of 2020 needed, especially during this difficult time. I say thank you, Father Liguori and Mr. Kent. As for myself and my classmates, we will forever be impacted by your influences on our lives. You will always be a part of our foundation no matter where we go from here. Just remember, wherever we go, we will always come back home. The school is our home, and we are a family. Thank you.
Thank you, Michio. That truly means a lot to Father and I. Thank you for all of that tremendous speech that I know you poured a lot of your time into putting together. I would third and finally like to call up Jill Bowen to the AMBO to give a dedication to our parents. Jill Bowen, please come up to the AMBO.
Good Good evening, students, teachers, and parents. My name is Jill Bowen, and I have attended St. Patrick Catholic School since pre-K. I've been annoying many of my teachers and classmates for almost 10 years now. Now I have the pleasure of speaking about some very important people in our lives, our parents and grandparents. Our parents have known us longer than anyone in this church. They provide us with the roof over our head, the food we eat, and the shoes on our feet. Today, I thank you, parents, for the sacrifices and assistance given throughout our years here at St. Patrick's Catholic School. Parents, you probably remember the first day you dropped your son or daughter off at St. Patrick's. It was probably hard sending your child off on their own to a scary, unknown place. I remember that day in pre-K when my parents dropped me off. It was an important day because I would cry daily for them to come pick me up and bring me home. I did this for the entire school year. Before I attended St. Patrick's, I would ride with my mom to drop off my sister, Lauren. I would always say how much I wanted to attend big kid school. But then when I got there, I realized that this place was not so great. Sometimes I still want to cry because I want to go home. But luckily, the school experience got better over the years, and I'm glad I stuck it out because I'm now a graduate of St. Patrick Catholic School. So I stand here today to thank the parents for their patience. I know we constantly complain about coming to school with all the work and strict rules, but you never gave up on us. You pushed us to take advantage of this great opportunity to educate ourselves academically and spiritually. Has anyone here ever faked being sick to go home? I know I have, and it definitely did not work. This occurred in second grade. I would use the same excuse every day. I would always say that my head hurt, and for some reason I thought that the teachers would believe me every time. And they did, for the most part. I would eventually get to go to the office and call my mom. I also thought that my parents would believe it every time. A few times when Miss Linton did let me call my mom would say, "The day's almost over," or "Go get a drink of water," or she would just call me out saying something like, "Jill, I know you're just trying to go home." I learned a lesson from the story in second grade titled "The Boy Who Cried Wolf." And I realized that if my head really was hurting one day, the teachers might not let me call home. So I never complained about my head hurting again in the second grade, but I did in the third and the fourth and the fifth grade. So before you think about doing anything sneaky, just remember that your parents are always one step ahead of you. But they will always answer the phone when they see the school is calling. So parents, we thank you tonight. We thank you for picking up the phone when we call, even if you know we just want to go home. Thank you for the times you said no. You taught us good work ethic and to have perseverance, even when you think we cannot go, even when you think we cannot go any further. But you have to finish what you started. Have you ever been given an award at school for doing something well? No, I'm not talking about the God sighting because I've never been given one of those. But that's a story for another day. I'm talking about the Superstar Student Award I was given in pre-K. I was not given this award because I got a good grade on anything or because I helped a friend. I got it because I didn't cry that day. Yet. My teacher, Miss Helen, gave it to me too soon and I ended up crying later that day. What do my parents have to do with this? Well, when I got home, I gave it to my dad and he was so proud of me, but he knew it was too good to be true. So when I told him what had really happened, he was not surprised and just laughed. My dad was not upset. It just proves that your parents know you more than you know yourself. And they are okay if you are not perfect. Parents, thank you for accepting us for who we are. I know you are so proud of us for the many awards you receive, but thank you for supporting us even when we fail. You always have our backs, and we love you for that. Has anyone here ever waited until the last minute to do something? I'm sure we all have at some point. I did this a lot. My assignments were either done last minute or late. So recently I was given a civics project during distance learning. We had to write a newspaper article about the Civil War. I usually wait until my dad gets home so that he can help me with it. Unfortunately, I lost track of time and my dad got home late. He was so mad when he saw how much work I had to do. He just wanted to pull his hair out, which he can't do because he's bald. But he helped me finish the project anyway. Thank you, parents, for always helping us with our schoolwork. I know you probably did not enjoy those dreaded science fair projects or listening to us practice our yearly speech contest until you had it memorized. But you always made our education a priority, and for this, we thank you. On behalf of the 8th grade class, thank you for being our biggest fans. Thank you for staying up with us on those late nights studying. Thank you for being our personal Uber driver. Not only did you drive us, but you supported us at those games and helped us with all those fundraisers. Thank you for loving our achievements and failures. You are loved by us, and we would not be here today if it wasn't for you. And like the wrestler Adam Cole always says, and that, boys and girls, that's undisputed. I had to get my wrestling quote in there somewhere. Thank you.
Jill Bowen, excellent job on your speech. Would you please stand? I have an award for you. You waited how many years for a God sighting? We have a God sighting. And that God sighting, Jill, is for patience. So thank you for waiting 3 years for your patience God sighting. And as I noted on your God sighting, save the best for last. So congratulations, Jill. Next, we would like to acknowledge our students who have been a part of many different groups at St. Patrick. It's not just about the schoolwork, but there's extracurricular activities that make the experience at St. Patrick one that you will not find anywhere else. So I would like to call Mr. Goodson to the AMBO to read off the names of students who were altar servers for the 2019-2020 school year. Students, when you hear your names for these different acknowledgements, please stand in your pew and you may turn and face your family members. At the end of the evening, you'll be receiving all of the award certificates that we acknowledge you for during our presentations in a folder at the back of the church.
So St. Patrick Catholic School, we're fortunate to have 8th graders who dedicate their time to serve as altar servers throughout the year. So tonight we'd like to recognize our altar servers. I'm just going to say when your name is read, please stand and hold your applause to all of it read. So we'd like to recognize Richard Alvarado Patel and Mason Baptist.
I would like to call Mrs. Lauderdale to the AMBO to read off the names of our Brain Brawl participants this year. Now, those certificates were already presented earlier in the fall, so while you will not get another certificate, Mrs. Lauderdale will express her gratitude for all that you did this year. And then, in place of Mrs. Parker, who couldn't be here this evening, Mrs. Lauderdale will continue to read off the names of our student council participants this year as well.
So St. Patrick Catholic School participates regularly in a diocesan brain brawl competition. The following 8th grade students served as key members of this year's team. While they have already received their participation certificates, I would just like to say thank you that they gave up many afternoons and some mornings and some lunchtimes to help us have a great season. So when your name is read, please stand. We ask that you hold your applause until all names are read. Richard Alvarado Patel, Mason Baptist, and Logan Elsie. Thank you. St. Patrick Catholic School student council members are energetic, creative, moral, and responsible members. Members maintain a good standing with regards to their academic and behavioral responsibilities. Through student council membership, leadership skills are developed. Members attend meetings and are involved in student council-sponsored service projects and events throughout the year. Congratulations to our 8th grade student council members. When you hear your name, please stand. I apologize. Asia Albright. Richard Alvarado Patel. Mason Baptist. Logan Elsie. Brandon Moore. Michio Morris. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I would now like to call our National Junior Honor Society lead advisor, Mrs. McDaniel, to the ambo to give a dedication to our NJHS members.
The National Junior Honor Society is recognized throughout the nation as both a public recognition of accomplishment and a private commitment to continued excellence on the part of its members. Selection to the NJHS is a privilege, not a right. The purpose of the National Junior Honor Society is to create enthusiasm for scholarship, to encourage good citizenship, to develop character in its members, to cultivate leadership skills, and to promote service to others. The duties of its members are to serve the school, parish, community, and country. Eligibility requires students to have a combined minimum cumulative grade point average of 3.5. It is with my great pleasure that I now recognize the members for their service this year. When your name is read, please come forward, please stand. We ask you hold your applause until all names are read. Richard Alvarado Patel, Mason Baptist, Logan Elsie, Tyler Johnson, Brandon Moore, Catherine Sanderson. Thank you for your service.
St. Patrick has been extremely fortunate this year to have had another phenomenal group of 8th graders representing our school in athletic competitions, both on the field and on the court. Coach T was unable to be here this evening as she rests at home to prepare for her second child. She asked that I share the following. I'm so sad that I cannot be with you tonight to celebrate your hard work and wonderful achievements. I have loved teaching each and every one of you this past year, and it was a joy watching many of you compete together on your respective teams. You each have unique talents, and I know you're going to take these talents and go further. Just remember, if you work hard, anything can happen. I am so proud of all of you, Coach T. Students, we ask that you please stand from the pew and stay standing until all members of your respective team are called. And I will say that we're really going to miss you guys next year because, as you'll see, we had quite a number of student athletes this year. So I hope we can recruit some underclassmen next year. Boys basketball, you guys had a great season, so many competitive games, some heartache, but some excellent teamwork. You guys stepped it up when you needed it. You guys pulled together, you each had a role, and you became a team by the end of the season. And some of you played for the first time as an 8th grader. And whenever I have new families come in, I always encourage them, well, when you get to 8th grade, you might want to try something new. And you guys certainly stepped up and did that. Boys basketball members, please stand. Richard Alvarado Patel, Mason Baptist, Logan Elsie, Evan Gardner, Tyler Johnson, Martre Jones, German Shannon, and Josiah Williams. Congratulations, guys. As you can see, we have some spots to fill on the bench for next season. But thank you for setting the bar high for next year's group. And hopefully we'll get to come watch you play freshman and JV basketball next year at high school. You may have a seat. Girls basketball. My first year here, our girls basketball team, well, the year before I came, we didn't have a girls basketball team. And then in 6th grade, we formed a team, and then every year it kept building and building and building. And now Coach Matt has taken the team to new heights, and you girls are really leaving good teammates to take your places for next year, and I'm excited for what they can do to take the reins that you've left them and continue going strong. So girls, please stand when I say your names. Asia Albright, Jill Bowen, Bella Garcia Williams, Michio Morris, Catherine Sanderson, and Zoe White. Our girls basketball student athletes. Next, we have volleyball. I know many of our students play volleyball every day at recess, and they're loving our new courts. And this year's volleyball team did a great job. We had a new coach, Coach Kirby, and I know that she earned your respect from the start of the season. She made you work hard, but she really got a lot out of you, and the girls team did a phenomenal job all season. Please stand, girls, when I read your names for participating in volleyball this season. Jill Bowen, Bella Garcia Williams, Michio Morris, and Zoe White. Congratulations, girls, and a great season. Good luck in high school. Soccer. Soccer is a co-ed sport, so we have boys and girls to recognize, and we have 9 of them. We had quite a large contingent this season. And I am proud to announce that on June 15th, we're ready to put in our new irrigation system on our soccer field. And so when our students come back to school in August, we're excited that we'll get to have recess out there, PE class, and eventually be able to host competitive sports. And I can't think of a more picturesque campus than looking at the brick rectory, the pond, and our beautiful school building. It's a hidden secret on the north side, but it won't be so hidden anymore. So I'm very excited about next season being able to play on that field. And you guys can always come back and join us. Soccer, please stand. Asia Albright, Richard Alvarado Patel, Mason Baptist, Logan Elsie, Tyler Johnson, Martre Jones, Charles Kahn, Brandon Moore, and German Shannon. I present to you our 9 soccer student athletes. I know Coach Sattler is not here with us this evening. I did not believe so, but Coach Sattler was very proud of each of you for your efforts and your hard work, your perseverance and determination. And parents, I know it's not easy to have to drive all the way to Palm Coast and Lake City and all of these faraway games that you have to leave school early, get home late, still do your homework, still have dinner. So thank you, parents, for driving them to and from their locations for their games and supporting our coach and your students, your children. Thank you so much. I am now honored to introduce the family of William D. Freeland. Are they here tonight? Here they are. Okay. Jamie and Cheyenne Freeland, who have established a scholarship fund in honor of William D. Freeland. It is called the William D. Freeland Kindness Project Scholarship. Both Jamie and her daughter are graduates from St. Patrick Catholic School. Jamie currently serves on our school advisory board, and Cheyenne is now a junior at Bishop Kenny. It's hard to believe. Please welcome Jamie and Cheyenne Freeland to the AMBO to present the 3rd annual William D. Freeland Kindness Project Scholarship. Thank you, Jamie.
Cheyenne's at home tonight. She couldn't make it. She wasn't feeling well, so I thought it's best that she stayed home. The Kindness Scholarship was started in 2018 to honor my late husband, Billy Freeland. We lost Billy to cancer, and it left a big void in our home. And I felt like we needed a way to honor and to celebrate his life, but more importantly, his legacy of love and kindness. Our scholarship is in the amount of $1,500 and is paid to the recipient's tuition-based high school. Our scholarship is unique because the recipient is chosen by his or her classmates. I met with the graduates on Tuesday and talked to them about Billy and the scholarship and asked them to nominate the student they felt was most deserving and tell me why. This year's voting was very close, and that was a testament to the kind and loving nature of the graduates. I was told that this was a special class, and I saw that in their writings. But the scholarship winner was clear to me because it was like I was reading something written about Billy. There were words used like a reliable friend, respectful, trustworthy, always has a smile and says hello, really listens. But the most powerful sentence that I read about the winner is, this person is a light and a relief in our class. And I had to think about what they meant by that. And I know that they meant he's a comfort. So the winner of the 3rd annual William D. Freeland Kindness Scholarship is Martre Jones.
And I want you to know that I had no idea who the winner was going to be, so I was on the edge of my seat, just like you. So congratulations, Martre. Couldn't think of anyone more deserving. And Martre will be taking his academic talents and athletic talents to Bishop Snyder Catholic High School next year, so he'll be becoming a cardinal. So best wishes there at Bishop Snyder, Martre, and may that scholarship go far for you. We offer congratulations to our students who have performed academically throughout the school year and who have shown tremendous effort and desire to improve. In honor of their achievements, we would like to present the students of the class of 2020 with certificates based on their final averages in each core subject. Certificates will be presented as follows. Certificate of Award for having the 3rd highest average in a core academic subject. Certificate of Merit for having the 2nd highest average in a core academic subject, and Certificate of Excellence for having the highest average in a core academic subject. And we also are offering a Certificate of Achievement for overall effort and performance in a core academic subject. Students, as I read your names, please stand, and if we can hold our applause until our last student's name is read. In some cases we had a tie, but in most cases there'll be 4 names. We're going to begin with English grammar from Mrs. Parker. I know that when our students leave here and they go on to their respective high schools, they always come back and they tell Mrs. Parker how hard she made them work and how high she set that bar, but how much they appreciate how she pushed them and motivated them to learn and excel academically. So on behalf of Mrs. Parker, our Effort and Performance Award for the Certificate of Achievement goes to Catherine Sanderson. Our Certificate of Award for finishing with the third highest average goes to Brandon Moore. Our Certificate of Merit for the second highest average is Richard Alvarado Patel. And our Certificate of Excellence, finishing the year with an overall average of 96.88, Mason Baptist. Congratulations to our English grammar students. Mrs. Parker also teaches social studies. The following student is receiving a Certificate of Achievement for his effort and performance throughout the school year. And this student is Logan Elsie. The Certificate of Award for the third highest average goes to Brandon Moore. The Certificate of Merit for the second highest average goes to Richard Alvarado Patel. And the Certificate of Excellence for finishing the year with a 93.44, Mason Baptist. Congratulations, gentlemen. And all of your award certificates that we're reading off will be placed in a folder that you'll receive at the end of the evening. Math, Honors Algebra 1, everyone's favorite class, right? Math. Certificate of Achievement for effort and performance goes to Brandon Moore. Certificate of Award for the third highest average goes to Logan Elsie. The second highest average receiving the Certificate of Merit goes to Richard Alvarado Patel. And our top student for the Certificate of Excellence with a 97.1 is Mason Baptist. Mrs. Lauderdale is proud to teach 2 8th grade math classes, and the second of 2 is our accelerated pre-algebra class. Our Certificate of Achievement for effort and performance is presented on behalf of Mrs. Lauderdale to Charles Kahn. Our Certificate of Award for the third highest average in pre-algebra goes to Martre Jones. Our Certificate of Merit for the second highest average is presented to Jill Bowen. And our Certificate of Excellence, finishing with a 92 average. Any guesses? Any guesses? Josiah Williams. Congratulations, students. Literature honors. Effort and performance, Certificate of Achievement. We couldn't break the tie, both of these students equally as deserving. We have Brandon Moore and Zoe White. Certificate of Award for the third highest average goes to Catherine Sanderson. Certificate of Merit for the second highest average in honors literature goes to Richard Alvarado Patel. And our Certificate of Excellence, finishing the year with the highest average in literature honors with a 97, is Mason Baptist. Accelerated literature. Please stand when your names are read. We have 2 recipients for the Certificate of Achievement for their effort and performance throughout the year, and they are Jill Bowen and Jocelyn Beesbore. Our Certificate of Award for the third highest average is presented to Michio Morris. Our Certificate of Merit for the second highest average is awarded to Josiah Williams. And our Certificate of Excellence to the top average is Bella Garcia Williams. Congratulations to all of our Literature Award recipients on behalf of Mrs. McDaniel. Religion, on behalf of Mr. Goodson. Certificate of Achievement for effort and performance is presented to Brandon Moore. Certificate of Award for the third highest average goes to Logan Elsie. Certificate of Merit for the second highest average is presented to Richard Alvarado Patel. And our Certificate of Excellence is presented to Mason Baptist. Congratulations, religion recipients. Science for Mrs. Jensen. And if you didn't know, Mrs. Jensen attended St. Patrick as a student, as did Mrs. McDaniel and Mrs. Blanchard. So we have some alumni in the house tonight. Our Certificate of Achievement for Effort and Performance in Science goes to Evan Gardner. Our Certificate of Award is presented to Brandon Moore. Our Certificate of Merit for the second highest average goes to Richard Alvarado Patel. And our top average for the Certificate of Excellence Award goes to Mason Baptist. Our final course subject that we'll present awards for is for Spanish on behalf of Senora Alvarado. Our Certificate of Achievement is presented to two individuals, and they are Charles Kahn and Bella Garcia Williams. Our Certificate of Award for the third highest average is presented to Evan Gardner. Our Certificate of Merit for the second highest average goes to Brandon Moore. And tied with 100 average is Richard Alvarado Patel and Mason Baptist, our Certificate of Excellence recipients. For art, media research, music, and physical education, student certificates are as follows. Certificate of Achievement for Most Improved, Certificate of Award for having the third best overall effort and performance, Certificate of Merit for the second best overall effort and performance, and Certificate of Excellence for having the best overall effort and performance. For art class, the Certificate of Achievement on behalf of Miss AJ, and I will say Miss AJ said that her entire 8th grade class, if we could have given 17 awards, we would have. She adored each and every one of you, and she was incredibly impressed by your efforts to become even greater artists throughout this distance learning. So I know she did some exceptional lessons over the different video platforms in Google Classroom. Our Certificate of Achievement for art class goes to Jill Bowen. Our Certificate of Award for the third best effort and overall performance goes to Brandon Moore. The Certificate of Merit goes to Mason Baptist. And our Certificate of Excellence goes to Catherine Sanderson. For Media Research Technology, on behalf of Mrs. Whalen, our Most Improved Award for the Certificate of Achievement is presented to Charles Kahn. Our Certificate of Award is presented to Jill Bowen. Certificate of Merit goes to Mason Baptist. And our Certificate of Excellence for Media Research goes to Richard Alvarado Patel. Music class, on behalf of Miss Giffen, Certificate of Achievement for Most Improved goes to German Shannon. Certificate of Award goes to Catherine Sanderson. Our Certificate of Merit is presented to Logan Elsie. And our top student for the Certificate of Excellence is presented to Brandon Moore. Physical Education, PE. On behalf of Coach T, Most Improved Certificate of Achievement goes to German Shannon. Certificate of Award goes to Jill Bowen. Certificate of Merit goes to Mason Baptist. And our top student, Certificate of Excellence on behalf of Coach T, is presented to Martre Jones. Congratulations to all of our students for their hard work and determination for their core and special area subjects. Let's give them another round of applause. Each year, the Diocese of St. Augustine, under the leadership of Bishop Estevez and Superintendent of Catholic Schools, Deacon Scott Conway, awards Honor Roll Award for 4th to 8th grade students who have earned A's and B's all 4 quarters. We are proud this year that we have 5 recipients. These students will receive an award certificate signed by our superintendent in your folders at the conclusion of the evening. Please stand when your names are read. Richard Alvarado Patel, Logan Elsie, Evan Gardner, Tyler Johnson, and Brandon Moore. A's and B's, all 4 quarters. An additional award presented by the Superintendent of Catholic Schools and the Bishop of our diocese is the Superintendent's Award. This is for a student in 8th grade who has received all A's, all 4 quarters, throughout our 8th grade year. And that student that is proud to represent St. Patrick this year is our valedictorian, Mason Baptist. And the third award presented by the Diocese of St. Augustine is the Athletes Award. To earn this award, you must participate in at least 2 sports and have all A's and B's, all 4 quarters. Would the following students please stand to be recognized? Richard Alvarado Patel, Mason Baptist, Logan Elsie, and Tyler Johnson. Congratulations to all of our students who earned certificates of award from the Diocese of St. Augustine's Administrative Office. I would now like to call Mr. Goodson to the AMBO to distribute awards for our Virtue of the Year awards. As you know, we have a Virtue of the Month program. We do God sightings, right, Jill? We do God sightings, and tonight we get to award students Virtue Awards based off of a whole year's worth of effort. And these awards will be also placed in the folders at the end of the evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kent. So at St. Patrick's School, we promote and instill a well-rounded curriculum, and virtues are a critical component, right, of this well-rounded education. So tonight we distribute our 2nd annual end-of-the-year Virtue Awards, and each of which is attributed to a saint who most embodies the given virtue. So let's go ahead and start. Starting with the St. Joseph Virtue Award for Responsibility, we have Mason Baptist. You just stand as your name is read, and we'll applaud at the end, just like every time. So the St. Dominic Savio Virtue Award for Honesty is Richard Alvarado Patel. St. Francis of Assisi Virtue Award for Humility, Martre Jones. St. Ignatius of Loyola Virtue Award for Respect is Brandon Moore. St. Mother Teresa of Calcutta Award for Gratitude is Michio Morris. St. Teresa of Avila Award for Determination and Persistence. We have a tie here between Evan Gardner and Josiah Williams. And the St. Therese of Lisieux Virtue Award for Kindness, we have Catherine Sanderson. St. Monica Virtue Award for Patience, we have Charles Kahn. And the St. Maria Goretti Virtue Award for Forgiveness, we have Logan Elsie. And the St. Philip Neri Virtue Award for Cooperation, we have Zoe White. So congratulations, boys and girls.
For this one final award, if we could carefully join me on the altar if you're a middle school teacher and you were a part of the voting process for the Bishop John J. Snyder Peace in Christ Award. We could spread out and show our support for this year's recipient. Our final award this evening is the Bishop John J. Snyder Peace in Christ Award. This prestigious award is presented to a student who is reflective of Bishop Snyder's faithful service and given to a student who meets the following criteria. The student must be in good academic standing. The student must reflect humility. A student must have a record of community service hours. The student must be one who shows compassion and concern for others. The student must be one who is active in his or her church. And the student must be committed to resolving conflicts with others. I am proud to announce that our faculty have voted and determined that this year's Bishop John J. Snyder Peace in Christ Award recipient is, and may join me at the bottom of the altar, Richard Alvarado Patel. And if Richard's parents would like to join him for a picture as well, you're welcome to join him. Last year's recipient was Brianna Reed, and the prior year's recipient was Stephen Taylor. So congratulations to Richard for continuing a tradition of excellence with this award. And a letter will be written on behalf of our faculty to Bishop Snyder Catholic High School so that they may keep that in their records. Thank you, faculty. As we conclude our awards portion, the faculty and staff and I would like to thank the students and their parents and their guardians and their caretakers for partnering with us this year. It is cliche to say that it takes a village, but at St. Patrick Catholic School, as Michio alluded to in her speech earlier this evening, we are much more than a village. We are blessed to be called a family, one which we can unequivocally say everyone in our church this evening can call a family, today, tomorrow, and forever. At this time, we will now transition from our awards portion of this evening's program to our commencement exercise. Grade 8 students, you may now place your caps on your heads, making sure that your tassel is placed on the front right side. And please also make sure that our masks remain on. Good evening, and welcome to our commencement exercise at St. Patrick Catholic School. We are very pleased that you can be with us this evening to honor our graduating 8th grade students. Tonight, we gather as one united St. Patrick Catholic School family to celebrate the St. Patrick Catholic School Class of 2020. I would like to call our salutatorian, Richard Alvarado Patel, to the ambo to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. As I stand before you tonight, I would be remiss if I did not thank some very important individuals. We thank our parents, whose unconditional love, support, and many sacrifices have made our quality Catholic education possible. We thank the administration, faculty, and staff of St. Patrick's Catholic School for their tireless efforts and relentless determination on our behalf. We thank our pastor, deacon, and religious sisters for their humble service and prayer presence among us. We thank our many family members and friends who have offered true support and much needed encouragement along the way.
But above all, we thank God, in whose name we gather, for he is our true inspiration, the source and fulfillment of all we are and all we ever hope to be. May all glory be his. At this time, I would like to call Mrs. Lauderdale to the ambo for the presentation of diplomas. I would also like to call Father Liguori and Mrs. Blanchard to join me on the altar. And students, as we discussed at practice, you may choose to come to receive your diploma without your mask, or you may choose to keep it on. We do have pictures that we took at the practice that will be distributed to you at the end of the evening, in addition to any that your caretakers and parents take from their seats this evening as well.
Graduation honors are conferred upon the following students who have satisfactorily completed the course of study prescribed for elementary schools by the Department of Education and the Diocese of St. Augustine. Diplomas will now be awarded. As each student is called forward, please hold all applause and accolades until the end. Will the first row of students please stand? Asia Albright. Richard Alvarado Patel. Will the second row of students please stand? Mason Baptist. Jocelyn Beesbore. Will the third row of students please stand? Jill Bowen. Logan Elsie. Bella Garcia Williams. It's fine. Okay. Where's that? Okay. Will the fourth row of students please stand? Evan Gardner. Tyler Johnson. Martre Jones. Will the fifth row of students please stand? Charles Kahn. Brandon Moore. Michio Morris. Will the sixth row of students please stand? Catherine Sanderson. German Shannon. Zoe White. Josiah Williams. Graduates, please stand. You may now move your tassels to the left. It is my pleasure to present to you the St. Patrick Catholic School graduating class of 2020. Graduates, please be seated. I would now like to call Mason Baptist, the class of 2020 valedictorian, to the ambo to deliver his address to his class.
Before I begin, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Father Liguori, Principal Kent, faculty and staff, parents and grandparents, and of course, my Lola. When I was told I had to write a speech, I initially thought, gosh, I have to write another one of these. I was worried, thinking, this one has to inspire people. This has to be memorable. This has to make an impact. And then something hit me through all that worry. My last days of middle school were approaching. I'm finally gonna be done. Then after like 5 seconds, I thought, now what? High school's next, so it's not really the end of anything, but the end to a chapter. I didn't feel as accomplished as I thought I would have, and this feeling brings me into what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Feeling satisfied and accomplished. You all know the saying, the journey is more important than the destination. Personally, I never quite understood what it meant, nor did I take the time to think about it. That was until now. While we were in quarantine, I happened to click on a certain YouTube video. Now, this wasn't some inspirational speech by a celebrity or someone famous. Instead, it was a psychological character analysis of a character from the TV show One Punch Man. In this show, Saitama, the protagonist, had become the strongest hero who can defeat any villain with one punch. Before this, he was simply a normal person, until one day, he set his goal to become the strongest hero. He trained for 3 years and finally reached his goal. He then plateaued. He couldn't get any stronger, and thus felt empty and depressed. As the viewer, I realized he was at his happiest during his 3 years of training. Many people today struggle with a sense of accomplishment. They feel as if they're going nowhere. It is mainly because people tend to focus more on the end result that they miss the middle, the journey. Anybody who has played Minecraft, raise your hand. When you plan a project or say you're going to build something, you often think it is because you can enjoy it and have fun with it afterwards. However, we truly feel happy as we are building it, experimenting with redstone, and making progress towards the goal. When we finish it and reach the final result, we feel a brief but major rush of joy, thinking, yes, all the hard work I put in, I made something amazing. Then afterwards, poof, what now? You move on to the next goal and build something new or completely play a new game. The point of the Minecraft anecdote was to show that the journey is what truly makes us happy. And to start that process, one must make the hardest part of any journey, the first step. We all feel comfortable where we are, but it is when we take risks and jump out of our comfort zones that we can truly begin a journey. So I challenge you, as we move into high school, make these next 4 years count. If you feel like you want to do more, go out. Try out for sports, join clubs, meet new people, learn a new skill, play an instrument, be adventurous. Turn the page and let us all begin this new chapter. Congratulations, class of 2020. Go Cardinals.
Excellent speech, Mason, and I look forward to following you at high school and seeing all the many accomplishments that are going to take place over the next 4 years. Now I have the tall order of following Mason with his speech and delivering my final address to you, the St. Patrick Catholic School class of 2020. Good evening again to our parents, caretakers, and immediate family members, our faculty and staff, and any special guests that are here this evening. And also, more importantly, good evening to our future doctors, chefs, chemists, computer programmers, marine biologists, professional volleyball players, and the list goes on and on. Of course, I'm referencing our newest alumni, our St. Patrick Catholic School class of 2020. I have the honor and privilege of standing before you this evening to address you, our now 8th grade graduates, our St. Patrick Catholic School class of 2020, for one final time. I cannot express how proud I have been to serve you and your families as your principal this year. It may seem a bit cliche, and it has been said by me from this very ambo before, but I say it again, and I say it unequivocally, that this class, our St. Patrick Catholic School class of 2020 is unlike any class I've ever presided over as principal. Hurricane Dorian seems like decades ago, doesn't it? Then came COVID-19, a pandemic that transformed education and transformed society. And as your classmate Michio pointed out, you are my first class who has completed all of middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade together with me as your lead learner, better known as your principal. Take into consideration that you have endured Hurricane Dorian and a pandemic, as well as having been my first class for 3 years of middle school, it's safe to say you are unlike any other class. During distance learning, our vocabulary has been enriched, and Webster's Dictionary is actively preparing for some new entries. In my lifetime, I have been used to hearing the following terms and phrases. One being the 5-second rule. You know, the times when you drop a snack and you react with cat-like reflexes to snag that snack. Now, we don't just have a 5-second rule, but we need a measuring tape because we have a 6-foot rule. Secondly, we're used to using the phrase social media. Some of you know a lot about social media. For example, some of you can create a TikTok video or a filtered Instagram post instantaneously with your eyes closed while doing a headstand. And as a disclaimer, don't try that at home. But when it comes time to getting that Google Classroom assignment in by a deadline, sometimes that's a different story. But don't worry, we still love you. Now we hear about the phrase social distancing all the time. But if social distancing has taught us anything, it is that no physical distance can pull us apart. I firmly believe that we are closer together now than we have ever been before. We are #SPCS Jack Strong, and we are and will always be together in spirit, in our prayers, and in our hearts. And thirdly, we've always used the word normal. That's normal, you'll get used to it. That's normal, you'll figure it out. Now, we often hear the phrase new normal or new norm. What is it? What does it mean? Well, to be quite frank, we're still figuring that out. As a principal, I aim to be decisive and assertive, but now I find myself saying, it's too early to tell. We're just going to need to wait and see. It's to be determined. Some of you in our church tonight can probably hear the words of your grandparents right now. When I was your age, we used to have to walk a mile uphill in the snow to arrive to our schoolhouse, and we had 45 students in class. That was an old norm, and it will be interesting to see how education continues to evolve before our eyes. Our fourth and final word that has existed, but whose meaning has changed, is Zoom. How many of our students used Zoom before distance learning? Just as I had suspected. Zoom was actually a live-action children's entertainment series on PBS from 1999 to 2005. It is also the sound many cars make that speed up and down Airport Center Drive East. You know what I'm talking about? Trust me, I see it far too often. Now, Zoom claims to be the leader in modern enterprise video communications. Thanks to Zoom, we have been able to communicate and interact in a face-to-face learning environment. Not only has our vocabulary expanded during distance learning with terms and phrases such as 6-foot rule, social distancing, new normal, and Zoom, but we have also learned a lot about what we can't do. We can't enter certain establishments without face masks. We can't walk down supermarket aisles in the opposite direction of directional arrows, or if you do, you're going to get that look. We can't fill an entire restaurant because there is a capacity limit. We can't as easily secure a doctor's appointment. We can't, in many cases, return to our physical place of work, and working from home has become the company's path moving forward. We can't believe that we have not been in school on our physical campus since Friday, March 13th. Yes, it was Friday the 13th. Yes, there was a full moon that week. And yes, there was a time change. With all of that being said, we can't emphasize enough the importance of quality educators. How many of our parents called the front office to inquire if we could send a substitute teacher to your home during distance learning? Don't be shy, don't be shy. Our St. Patrick educators are second to none. They are the best. Let's stand and let them know they are the best. Thank you. And lastly, we can't put into words the grit, the determination, the perseverance, the dedication and commitment that our students, our St. Patrick Catholic School 8th grade class of 2020 students have shown throughout our distance learning. Let's show our newest graduates how much we are very proud of them. What we can say for sure is that our graduating class of 2020 is one we will always remember. And it is because of all of the accomplishments that they have accumulated and all of their success stories that await them in the next chapters of their life. So, 8th grade graduates, St. Patrick Catholic School class of 2020, I conclude tonight by stating that goodbye is a part of life, but you will always be united with us in the body of Christ, no matter where you are. Remember to focus on faith, family, and future. And remember that who you are is God's gift to you. What you make of yourself is your gift to God. Use one of the 86,400 seconds in each day to go out and make a difference, focusing on what you can do and not what you can't do. And unlike these items right here, our disinfectant wipes and our toilet paper, which are short in supply, the amount of love, the care and support that each of us in this church tonight have for you is definitely not in short supply. And the love, care, and support that God has for you is endless. Congratulations to our newest graduates, our now newest alumni. You did it, you made it. Go out there and make us proud. At this time, I ask our office staff and our middle school teachers to please proceed down the side aisle to the back of the church to distribute gifts to our students as we begin our exit of our program. This exit is unlike any other exit we've ever done, so I want to give you some housekeeping tips as we proceed forward. We're going to exit as I say the child's name, and we're going to start from our last pew of students. We will begin with Catherine and go to Charles and proceed from left to right until we end with our first pew. When the child's name is read, please stand with your child and join them as they exit out the back. There will be a green gift basket for each child, complete with folders with all of their award certificates, with their Q4 report cards saying that you have been promoted. It also has many special treats on behalf of our school. Then, with your family, please proceed to the back right exit as if you're going inside for recess by the double doors by the entry to science and 8th grade homeroom, where Mrs. Linton and Mrs. Hayes will collect your gown and will be placing it on a hanger. And once again, to everyone who could join us tonight, and we know that it has been challenging, it hasn't been without difficulties, we thank you for being able to join us tonight, and we feel very blessed that our faculty and staff could join the 8th graders that we care so much about and be joined by their immediate family members. We also thank the videographer, Manuel, who is with us this evening, and the video will be sent as a link to all of our families, and we have permission and rights to share that link as you see fit with friends and family that could not join us this evening. Your 8th grade video will be sent in the days to follow, so that gives you something additional to look forward to. I will now begin our exit from our commencement exercise. Catherine Sanderson. Charles Kahn. German Shannon. Brandon Moore. Zoe White. And if you could kindly, when you do exit, take your programs with you and any belongings that you have. We will be disinfecting our church bright and early tomorrow morning as we have First Holy Communion at 11 a.m. Michio Morris. Josiah Williams. Evan Gardner. Jill Bowen. Tyler Johnson. Keeping an eye on the traffic in the back. Logan Elsie. Martre Jones. Bella Garcia Williams. Mason Baptist. Asia Albright. Jocelyn Beesbore. And our final graduate, certainly not least, congratulations, Richard Alvarado Patel. Thank you, faculty and staff, for joining us this evening. Thank you, Father Liguori. Thank you, all families. Have a good night.